Well, welcome race fans to Sebring. It's the end of the 2024 edition of the Sebring 12 Hours. We're behind Victory Lane and we've got the man of the hour with us. It was an absolutely barnstorming finish, and the 40 Wayne Taylor Racing with Andretti Acura of Louis Deletraz, Colton Herta, and Jordan Taylor took a win after a fantastic battle at the end of the race. I've got Louis with me, he was in the car at the end. Louis, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Tell me about the end of the race, because you had a lot of work to do after all those FCYs.
It was insane. I mean, I don't know where to start. First of all, HPD, Acura and WT180 gave me a car in a position to win, a fast car, and I think we showed it the good way. Definitely got the car behind, on P3 I think, behind Nasser and Bourdais. Could pass Nasser quite quick, did struggle to get on Seb because every time I was coming close there was a yellow and I had to restart, and we struggled a bit on restart, we don't get the front tires in. But then, I mean, we had a bit of robbing, hard racing, but very fair. We could both have ended in the wall, but we respected each other, and I mean, I thank him for this. But this win means so much for me, and I really can't wait to celebrate with the team.
Tell me about the final move that you made on him and what it was like in the cockpit after you'd got past, because he did have another go, didn't he, through turn one, I think it was.
Yeah, I didn't see it through turn one. I heard about it, but I just braked as late as I could and tried to make the corner, so I knew he couldn't go there. But yeah, I made a move. We did touch a little bit more after a few times, but I knew if I'm ahead and I stay ahead, I have more pace. So I just need to look forward and push. But it was tough. My hurt rate was probably the highest it's ever been in a race car, and I'm really so happy to get this first win in GTP and IMSA for me overall like this.
Dude, you're amazing. We're going to have to let you go, but congratulations. What an amazing win.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So before we get on to the other classes and we break down the rest of GTP, got another special guest for me, David Salters, president of HRC US, and he's had quite an evening. He'd never met me before. He's now spoken to me twice in one day. I'm like a London bus to him. I bet you're happy that I interviewed you earlier, right?
You are my new best friend and our mascot now.
You know, good things happen when you come on the Racer channel.
There you go.
So tell me about the magnitude of this victory. It's the first win for Acura, right, this race?
I think so. So this is one of the iconic endurance racing tracks in the world, isn't it? So it is magical. So firstly, big shout out to all the boys and girls who poured their souls into making this car. Boys and girls at Orica, boys and girls at HRC, and it's just a testament to their efforts. To make such a good fast car. Plan A, make a fast car. Plan B, refer to Plan A. And then someone like Louis, and Colton and Jordan and the whole team that just gets it done. So delightful.
It was so close, and I mean, how do you feel after, you know, the Rolex didn't go the way you wanted it to go, but this race clearly did, and it wasn't just a fight between one or two brands. At the end, we had 3 or 4 in there.
No, testament to IMSA. Everything sort of got sorted out here, and everyone could fight, and it was a fight. It was brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was nail-biting stuff.
Yeah.
So
I'll ask you next. What's the feeling like at the very end of that race when you trust Louis? We all trust Louis.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
But when that battle starts with him and Sebastian, tell me what it's like in HRC world.
It's we're here to win, so you just go and you win. But the team does well, and Louis is amazing. So you know, he just drives smart, takes his opportunity, and got it done. So no, it was awesome, wasn't it? So it's very, very special. This is a special place.
Final question before I let you go. What was your expectation going into this one? It's difficult, it's very condensed build up to this race. And I guess it's so important to have a car that's good when the sun goes down.
Yeah.
Did you think you were going to be there when the sun came down, when the temperatures dropped?
Well, we struggled a little bit in practice. You probably saw us going up and down. And then we started to get it together. And then we had a small whoopsie where we had to change engine out, which was on the back foot. But then all the boys and girls just nailed it, and then so we got pole, we didn't get pole. That was a bit. So we knew we had a reasonably fast car, and then you know the team knows what to do, does a great job. We got all the boys and girls optimising it. We got people back in the factory in our sort of mission room, so they're all working away, and you just work. So there's no magic to this. You just work. But we knew we had a reasonable car. So, but you got to execute. And
You did tonight.
Well, yeah, the team did, and Louis. That's a lot of pressure, isn't it? And,
it's a lot.
He was faultless. Just made all smart decisions.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been very easy for there to be a big incident at the end of that race, and the GTD cars were just taking chunks out of each other, and it was just, it deserved that sort of battle at the end of this race.
And the car definitely, you could see the car sort of woke up when it was meant to wake up, really, so that's good.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to get the car towards the end, and all the smart people got it right, so well done team, awesome job.
Fantastic, congratulations David. Magnificent start to the new one team effort in GTP with WTR and Andretti. Awesome race, good to see a smile on your face. Have the world's biggest beer tonight.
I will, and thank you to all the fans, because this is nothing without fans, so thank you very much to all our fans.
So let's talk about the rest of this race then. It came alive in the second half. GTP was truly a battle of four makes today. Behind the winning Acura, behind the 01 Ganassi Cadillac, there was a real fight for third. Behind Bourdais at the very end, the 7 Penske Porsche, which was the better of the two today, crossed the line. It wasn't quite the continuation of the 100% winning record that the Penske program had enjoyed up until now, winning at Rolex, winning at Qatar, but it was still a really good performance, and had things played out a little bit differently, Felipe Nasser could have ended up top step of the podium, and we could be talking about Penske winning yet again. They were in the fight, and BMW kind of was as well. I mean, going into this one, speaking to Conor De Filippi earlier in the build-up, he was talking about the fact that last year they struggled with traction. It wasn't the easiest circuit on the M Hybrid V8, but he did have a little bit of confidence in him that they might be more in the mix. And yes, last year they got on the podium, but that was in part because of the chaos at the end. And being very fortuitous with that pile-up in GTP. This year they didn't make the podium, but BMW, when the field were munched up, could have had a chance here. And another team that could have had a chance is Proton. They also kind of came out of nowhere, and I don't think many people would have thought that they would be in the hunt today. Christian Reed and his team always work incredibly hard, but they'd had no testing at this circuit before they got here at Sebring. It was a blank sheet of paper for them. They fought their way through practice and qualifying. They didn't have the speed in the build-up, but when the lights went out and when the brake discs started glowing and the spotlights were on, Julian Andlauer suddenly found a load of pace and actually had a sniff at the podium at the very final restart before having a little off. So you've got to say hats off to Proton. They had a really good race today. But finally I want to talk about of the cars that finished this one, the Lamborghini. The Lamborghini SC63 is a very new car. The Iron Lynx team that's here running that car is different to the WEC team, and they really did a good job today. It's not an easy circuit this with all the bumps, and the SC63 ran pretty much like clockwork. It had one problem with the door coming open, but aside from that, it was a flawless run really, and they finished P7 and on the lead lap, and you can't really ask for more at that stage. And yeah, it was a fantastic race. We will remember this one. Last year we're going to remember it because of the pile-up at the very end. This year we're going to remember it because of that amazing duel between Bourdais and Deletraz. And this was a race, I guess, that at one point we thought would have been Action Express's day. Could have been Pipo Derani getting 5 wins. He had a massive off in the second half of the race, and it was at that point that this race really turned on its head, and we will remember that. Thank God Derani's okay. It wasn't Action Express and Cadillac this time. It would have been 6, I think, wins in 8 years for Cadillac had they pulled this off. But it was Acura today, and they were awesome. So now we're moving on to LMP2, and this was a really entertaining class all the way through. United, both their cars were in the running throughout. AO Racing Spike, beautifully liveried, dragon liveried Orica was also in the mix. But PJ Hyatt had an off and knocked that car out of contention. And towards the end, with all the FCYs and the kind of fruit machine that we had, with all the strategies playing out, Era Motorsport, again, absolutely fantastic. All of a sudden, they're leading the race. Ryan Diel, Connor Zilic, and Dwight Merriman, hats off to you. You've won Rolex and you've won Sebring to start the season. They've survived a puncture, they came all the way to the end, and flawless run, and Connor Zilic soaked up so much pressure towards that. Second was the 11 TDS Orica, which led at one point after an amazing run to the front, and led home the 22 United Orica. Paul Di Resta in at the end made up a couple of nice spots. And before we go on to the GTD classes, shout out to Sean Creech. The Sean Creech Motorsport Ligier didn't get a podium but finished 4th in a car that I think many would have expected to be right at the bottom of the pack. So an amazing run for that Ligier. They're going to party tonight. We're on to the GTDs now, and let's start with Pro. If you're expecting this season to be Corvette versus Ford in GTD Pro, the two big factories going up against each other, well, it's not turned out that way yet. You'll be disappointed if you thought that was going to be, this 2024 season. But you shouldn't be, because this was another really strong race for GTD Pro, which produced an interesting result. There was a moment with that final restart where 3 of the 4 class leaders were the winning cars at Rolex, and they thought, we're going to have a pretty identical result here. But in the end, Jack Hawksworth was absolutely magnificent. Drove from 3rd to 1st, put 2 really, really ballsy moves in to get up to 2nd. I think he got past Daniel Juncadella in the number 3 Corvette. Then he got past Daniel Serra in the Rizzi Ferrari late after a restart, and he was on point. He was so focused, and he got that Lexus, an amazing win. The RCF GT3 is an ageless wonder of a car, and Vasser Sullivan, yet again, proved that they are a world-class organisation in this field. Behind the Vasser Sullivan Lexus, Rizzi finished 2nd, and that in itself is an achievement considering they spun at the exit of turn 1 at the very start of the race and could have got collected in a monumental shunt at the very start of the race. Didn't quite get the win like they did at Daytona, but here finishing 2nd's a good result, and Mirko Bortolotti finished 3rd in the Lamborghini. It was a quiet run for Ford, 7th and 8th, and Corvette, the 3 was on track for a podium. Could have won it, really, on another day, but Daniel Juncadella off into the gravel at the end of this race ruined it for them. The 4 was never in contention with clutch issues, and the number 3 wasn't there when it mattered right at the end. Final class, and it's Winward with the 57 Mercedes, another team that's won Rolex and won Sebring along with Era. An amazing result for them. The Mercedes that they prepared for this race was absolutely perfect. Philip Ellis, Russell Ward, Indy Jonchi did not put a foot wrong. There were times, because of the way the strategy panned out, that they didn't have the lead, but they led the majority of this one. And all the way up until the flag, you'd have been hard pressed to bet against them. They led home the 47 Cetilar Ferrari and the number 120 Wright Porsche. Really nice podium for the Wright guys. There was a strange moment, one more shout out before we wrap this up, where Magnus looked like they might score the most unlikely victory for the brand new Aston Martin Vantage GT3. Andy Lally had the lead late in the race after a safety car, but went from 1st to 8th. We didn't see it. There was so much going on, and you couldn't see much with the darkness. But that would look like the one moment we thought, we're not going to win this one, but Magnus didn't do it. They ended up 10th, I think. So, yeah, a stunning Sebring. What can you say? Lots of yellows, like any IMSA race, but as a whole, it delivered. It delivered more than Rolex did for me. A really interesting race from start to finish. So much to talk about heading into Long Beach. So much to discuss. Fantastic battles all the way to the end. And lovely weather in Florida. You can't ask for more. Thanks for following us on racer.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you at the next one.